Hey everyone, it's Rod with the Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, July 10th. Hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to do an update on Aurora. We'll take a look at the ACB chart on the NASDAQ. We'll do some analysis. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. Had a lot of people request an update on this one, and we've been seeing some bullish momentum on the stock in the last week or so. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only, and never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. And full disclosure, I do own a very small position on Aurora in my MJ portfolio. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And I just posted a video on CGC. It's not showing up here. It might be a little bit of a lag, but it's very similar to the ACB chart. And if you haven't seen that video, I encourage you to check that out after this one, because they're two very similar setups, and it kind of gives you an idea of how you can look at one chart and then kind of know what to expect at the next one. And if there's weaknesses or strengths, then that's going to stand out, right? But if I look at one chart in the MJ industry, I expect them to all look fairly similar because the sector moves in tandem, not down to the day, the second, the minute, but overall on the monthly and the yearly, they look very samey, right? So that's just because the sector moves together. It doesn't trade on fundamentals. Also, I've been saying for multiple years now that watch for Congress to being banned from owning stocks to mark a potential top in the market, and then also rate cuts, which I think could come in September. And just like clockwork, these crooks are at it again. You can smell their criminal activity from miles away. It's literally laughable and sad how predictable they are. But this was an article from today, Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. Senators strike bipartisan deal for a ban on stock trading by members of Congress. And guess what? The stock market's at a new all-time high today. Isn't that funny how that works? These crooks they're political crooks and they're Wall Street crooks. But as we know, look at the DEA. Look at the SEC. The head of the SEC is Gary Gensler, who worked at Goldman Sachs, I think, for like almost 20 years. So they call him Goldman Gary, right? He works for these Wall Street banks, and now he's regulating the Securities Commission. Like, it's almost laughable, right? The whole system is just unbelievably rigged. It's not even funny, but I digress. Watch for that very large top indicator in the markets. So taking a look at the chart here on ACB on the NASDAQ, you can see what's the first thing we're going to anticipate based on my CGC video that I just did and looking at MSOS and the ETF, right? Well, daily bear flags. There's daily bear flags across the sector. And what was the other thing that I expected to happen after the highs of April 30th when DEA announced the rescheduling process? I said daily oversold. It had been, for most names, some names that are weaker like ACB and CDC, they hit daily oversold in March of this year. But before that, on a lot of our names, like if we just take a look at MSOS, for example, oh, look at that, bear flag, daily oversold, hit, right? When was the last time we were daily oversold on MSOS? All the way back in October. So that increased the odds that we were more than likely going to see that. And then, nothing goes in a straight line forever either. And we were up, hundreds of percent on a lot of these names. Some names like ACB, CDC up like 500%, right? But ACB, so taking a look at MSOS, taking a look at CDC, what do we expect? Daily bear flag. Sure enough, it was the daily bear flag. We had a target of 510. We actually exceeded that, and we hit 446. Everybody's saying, well, why is the ACB so strong lately? Well, it's because it had a daily bear flag, and it overshot that. Not only did it hit daily oversold, it got pretty extended down in there, right? Most names just barely touched on 30, anything 30 and below, and we hit 27, right? And we overshot that daily bear flag target. So it was more beaten down from the high of April 30th. I don't know, I keep saying February. From probably February 2021 is what I'm thinking of. But yeah, we were down 52% on ACB. So names like CDC, names like ACB, they run harder, the harder they fall. But then, this one overshot its bear flag target, and that was at 510. Like I said, we hit a low there of 446. And from the low there, we are now up about 30%. But again, before that, if we just take a look at the week of the action of that prior week, we were down about 22%. And then, like I said, from the high of 30th of April, we were down, like I said, about 52%. So the fact that we're up 30%, well, let's just go back to our high of April 30th. We're still to where we closed today, we're still down almost 40%, right? So even with this 30% bounce in a week, we're still down a considerable amount. It's still bad performance, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't have, a nice trade, right? And even if you would have started to scale in here, right, there's your daily bear flag target, daily oversold. I mentioned that was a good area of target, right? In potential for a temporary bottom and to be looking for an entry. This could also be an inverse head and shoulders here on the daily time frame, which Tilray was one as well. So we could expect something like this where we have this type of bullish reversal pattern, right? Coming off daily oversold. So we'll see if we can get that. But as of right now, like let's say, and some people say, well, why do I need technical analysis, right? Well, if you're looking for entries, let's say you're looking for longer term entries, well, wouldn't you want to know that we were going to see another potential leg down and we had a target of 510, maybe a flush of $5 psychological to go stop loss hunting on their way to daily oversold, right? Maybe you were going to enter here at 668 and you saw this bear flag target and you said, okay, well, I can get a better entry of, 25 to 30% better entry, then maybe I'll wait, right, and wait for daily oversold territory. And we're also gearing up for an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. So showing lots of momentum here on ACB. Definitely one of our stronger names here on the daily time frame. But on the monthly time frame, we're still very, very weak. It's very similar to Canopy Growth, so CGC. And then on the monthly time frame, we're still in a monthly downtrend. So we had a lower high here compared to 1150. It was a lower high there at 935. We're still in a monthly downtrend while a lot of MJ stocks are in monthly uptrends, right? So that's very, very notable. But we're consolidating here on the monthly time frame. Consolidation just means we're losing the low of the previous candle. We're in a downtrend, so we're looking to confirm an uptrend. What is an uptrend? What is a downtrend? A downtrend is lower highs and lower lows. Here's your lower high and then your lower low, right? Now we're looking to confirm an uptrend, which is a low, high, higher low, and higher high. So a higher low, so you have your low, high, higher low, and higher high, right? That's what an uptrend is. So we're working on the uptrend now. So if we hold our low here at 284 on this monthly consolidation, which we're seeing now, then we start the monthly bounce. How do we know we're bouncing on the monthly time frame? We'll break the high of the previous candle. So consolidation is losing the low of the previous candle. Bouncing is breaking the high of the previous candle and retracing, right? So if we retrace back up to 935, break that resistance, that would be a monthly uptrend confirmed. And we're probably heading to monthly EMA 26, which would bring us to 2266. How many other names are hitting their... And again, if you're only looking at ACB, I only own Aurora. It's the only stock I own. Well, if you're not looking at other names in the space, then you're missing out on the bigger picture, right? So Green Thumb, GTBIF, actually got 30% above its monthly EMA 26 after being below it for some time. So if ACB were to do something similar, if we were to get 30% above EMA 26 eventually, it's probably going to take a while, right? But maybe, toward the end of 2024, sometime in 2025, that'd put us around $30 on ACB stock, right? And that's factoring in post-split, right? They just did the same as CGC, but then they did another split before that. So they did a 1 for 10, they did a 1 for 12, so it's just been reverse split city here for ACB. But yeah, like I said, working on the monthly uptrend now. The more names that confirm monthly uptrends, the better. So I want to see ACB do it. I want to see Canopy Growth do it. I want to see Tilray do it. Lots of other names in Canada are already in monthly uptrends like Cron, VFF, SNDL, High Tide. So lots of names in the US confirm monthly uptrends first. Now we're starting to see Canada follow suit. Now we just need CGC, ACB, and Tilray, all of those other leaders to confirm monthly uptrends. I think OGI is another one as well. Yeah. We're consolidating here on the monthly time frame. We're no longer in a monthly downtrend, though. We broke the lower high, lower low pattern. So the trend is flat. We're not in a downtrend. We're not in an uptrend. We're forming the higher low here now. Now we need to break key resistance at 291, and then that's going to look good for the entire sector, right? So just keep that in mind. But in terms of the weekly time frame, we are close to seeing a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well. And this could even be a weekly bear flag. Anything under 586 is a potential weekly bear flag. So you take your low to the high, high to the low, move it out to your 0.382 fib. So in order to negate it, we need to get over 586 convincingly. In order to confirm it, we need to reject from 586, come down, lose support there at 446. Then our measured move saying 321. Yeah. So that would be from current levels, that'd be another 43%-ish of downside. So it's all about support and resistance. It's not about predicting. It's about reacting. Looking at the levels, looking at patterns, indicators, different signals, and looking at data as we go along. Day by day, we get more and more data. We took a look at the key support levels, key resistance. If we break support, we look at bearish indicators and signals and patterns, right? If we break resistance, we look at bullish indicators, patterns, and signals. In terms of the 10-week moving average, we're sitting there at 583, so a lot of resistance there, 583, and then that level there on the weekly bear flag target was, what was it again? Zoom out to the weekly, 586. So 586, 583, a lot of resistance there. We are gearing up for for a stochastic and a MACD weekly bull cross, but it's going to be a while, in my opinion, before we see that play out. So it would make sense potentially to top out here, come down, see a little bit more of a pullback, and then one more leg down, and then we rip. We also have a lack of resistance until the 100 weekly, which a lot of names were topping out. You can see here ACB got above it, but huge upper wick, and then slammed right back down below the 50 weekly. But we got some runway there until 726. If we can get above that 583 level, 586, really, we'll just say $6. Then after $6, we got a lack of resistance till about 726. In terms of the daily time frame, we also have the 50 weekly coming up. Sorry, the 50-day moving average at 609. So that, yeah, $6 is going to be an area to get above. Get above that, then we could easily see a move back up pretty quickly to around $7. But we are gearing up for a potential death cross as well, so we'll continue to monitor this over the next few days. Same thing with CGC; they're very similar setups. So if the 50-day, if we reject here from around $586, and then we come back down and we see these moving averages start to cross. If the 50 comes down and crosses that green line, the 200-day moving average, that's referred to as a death cross, which would be very bad and would expect probably a dip, like I said, down around that $4 or $3, which would bring us down to around that weekly bear flag target into the low threes. All right, going to end it there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Let me know if this video was helpful. If it was, make sure to drop a like. I'd appreciate it. Share it with your network. It's Rod with Powell Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.